sometimes you might not want to go and see people, and that's okay. You might not want to socialize much, but you want to be really careful here. Because you know why? Because you actually do want to go socialize. And it's ironic, really, because you won't have anyone else there to point this out to you. So you've got to be really introspective and notice that this is a self-deception. It's a trap. You're falling into a trap. Because when you say people out there, they're not conscious, you're overlooking the fact that consciousness or God is everywhere. It's within your experience. Everything is sacred. Everything is the universe. Everything is teeming with the universe. But you've got to make yourself conscious enough to see that. If you just withdraw into the world and say, no, socialization, man, those extroverted, social, mainstream, normie people, yeah, they might all gather together and they might have a little party and they might socialize. But not me. I'm going to stay in and meditate. Again, it's so freaking nuanced, man, because on the one hand, you might do that and you might be an outlier, a really conscious person, a conscious outlier, because you don't participate in mainstream stuff. But you don't want to fall into the trap of never socializing or bypassing socializing because you prefer to be spiritual and meditate. Really, what I'm going to suggest to you, man, is this. You do want to be able to socialize. You do want to be able to be with people. Really, you want to have the same presence as you do in your meditations, but with everyone else. When I was younger, I was always quite shy and quite sensitive. And I was quite sensitive to energy as well. And I didn't really like hanging out with other people sometimes. But deep down, I did know it was good. I did want to be with other kids. I did want to socialize and immerse myself in the moment and hang out with kids on a climbing frame and, jump around and be a kid. When I let go of my fear and surrendered to it, I was grateful. I was always like, oh man, everything's fine now. I'm in the moment. I mean, obviously I didn't think like that, but that was what was happening. You want to see that this can happen for you. You can have this breakthrough because, when I was in my first couple of years on the spiritual path, I remember literally just like not going out and staying in and meditating, even on like a Friday or a Saturday when maybe one might be going out. And, to be honest, that was good. I developed a lot of meditation skills and introspection and a peace basically on my own. That was cool. But it's where you start to deceive yourself. It's where you start to become lopsided in your own development, right? So basically when you start prioritizing spirituality and just doing that, just meditating, and you don't like pay attention to the other aspects of the work. You don't go out, you don't socialize, you don't cold approach, you don't challenge yourself socially. And you need to, but that's uncomfortable and that's not very spiritual. Because your spiritual ego might say, but do I really have to? Because, there's so many people out there that are so unconscious. Again, you've got to be careful with this. I used to say this stuff. The more I matured, the more I'm seeing, whoa, that's just a projection. You got to catch it. You got to notice it. And you've got to see where you are telling yourself a story of, that's not really me. I don't really do that. I prefer to be spiritual. I prefer to be conscious and just on my own because that's solitude. I like solitude. I don't like going out there and socializing. That's BS. This is how it was for me. I was in denial about the fact that I needed to deepen my development in other areas. I needed to go and socialize and become really familiar and comfortable, and not just comfortable, confident and authentic socially. Because here's the truth. You won't be able to sit with yourself in good conscience and be like, yeah, I'm fine by not doing that. No, you won't be able to sit with yourself and be truly at peace and know that you're not deceiving yourself if you tell yourself this story. And if you don't have that kind of social development and that kind of social exposure, what you really want is you want to overcome this hurdle. You want to see this self-limiting belief. And you want to break free from the story that you're this spiritual person who's introverted. If you label yourself and you tell yourself that you are a certain way, that it will appear that way. As soon as I removed the story or narrative that I don't do certain things because I'm a conscious person, I became free because I wasn't limiting myself. I wasn't shackling myself with this BS basically, because anything you tell yourself is basically BS. If you really just sit with your wisdom will tell you, yeah, that's a story. And the story that we're focusing on today, that we're bringing into our consciousness is this story of, I don't want to socialize. I'm not a social person. We're seeing through this. We're noticing that we may be spiritually bypassing. And by the way, if you're not sure this applies to you, first of all, you do because you have intuition. It's already picking it up. But secondly, just ask yourself this. Do you have resistance to go out and see other people and see normie people, right? If you do, for your own growth, I would genuinely recommend socialization. I would genuinely recommend you do the social stuff that makes you feel uncomfortable, that you deem unconscious. You don't need to do tons of it. You just need to expose yourself to it so that you're not making it a blind spot. Because again, the universe is everywhere. It is a spiritual story, which is BS, by the way, that you being in solitude on your own, safe at home or wherever, is nice and conscious. But out there in the world is noisy and unconscious and toxic. Again, this is all BS. It's all BS. I had a lot of this stuff. I had to work through it. I didn't want to see certain people. I didn't want to, pubs. Even now, I don't like going to pubs, but I got to work on that because if I'm honest with myself, the pub or bar is God. I can't deny that. So we're going to start wrapping up. What I would say to end this one is this. Stop trying to protect your state of consciousness so much. You will learn and grow more by exposing yourself to those social activities which you resist. Why? Because when you resist something, that is your signal to go and do it, to move towards it, to integrate it. I hope you found this useful. I definitely fell into this trap a bunch, and talking about it is nice because I get it off my chest and stuff. The very last thing I'll say is this. To be fair, and your spiritual ego will like this one, to be fair, I would say you want to spend a lot more time contemplating, meditating, being in solitude, being on your own. What we're talking about here is a trap. It's a trap of just doing that, just meditating and not socializing and not developing yourself and growing spiritually, meeting new people, having new experiences, doing weird, new, spontaneous, scary things. Socializing can be a very big blind spot. So I hope you've felt that from today. Contemplate this. It might be the case for you. It might not. Otherwise, man, we shall call it there. Lots of love. Take care, my friend. And as always, peace.